Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for demanding my husband stop seeing his run buddy? Run buddy in quotation marks here. I'm 28 female and my husband is 29 male. We've been happily married for 4 years and have a daughter together. However, things have taken an unfortunate turn recently when he started going for runs at a track and met a 19-year-old female. He didn't tell me about this at first when he started it, but he told me shortly after that he runs with her 3 days a week, with each run usually lasting around 90 minutes. They even socialize afterwards. Okay, hold up. The problem is not that he runs with this girl or runs with another person. The problem is that he didn't tell her about it at first. He told her after, which is less of a red flag than not telling her at all, but not a green flag of telling her like in the very beginning or making sure it's not something that would make her uncomfortable. My husband is a former athlete and she's currently an athlete on her college team. I let it go on for weeks, but eventually I started to feel that this wasn't appropriate and wanted him to spend that time with me and our family instead. I told him this and asked him to cut her off, but he told me to relax. We got into an argument and he called me insecure. I'm red flagging him right here because when your partner is telling you how they feel, telling them that their feelings aren't founded, or that they're just insecure, or that they're overreacting, isn't going to accomplish anything but goad them into a fight. That's a red flag. Learn how to deal with your partner and their insecurities. Hear them out. Understand them. In response, I called him immature and accused him of trying to relive his youth. Oh, we're in battle mode now. I also reminded him that he has responsibilities and that his daughter wants to spend more time playing with him. The argument didn't lead to any resolution, and neither of us changed our positions. I'm unsure if I'm in the wrong for feeling this way, but I can't help feeling jealous that my husband is socializing with a 19-year-old female who is much younger and prettier than me. I feel like my concern is valid. Am I the astronaut? Okay, there's an update here. Before we get into that update, let's discuss it for a minute because there's a word that appeared at the very end of this, which is new. She says, I can't help feeling jealous that my husband is socializing with a 19-year-old female who is much younger and prettier than me. When did she become prettier than OP? And has OP seen her? How has OP seen her? Has OP followed him and watched to see like how they socialize and what this girl looks like? She's not, yeah. I mean, look, pro tip, hubby, if you've been, like, it was a warning shot. I'm telling you right now, when she told you this made her uncomfortable and asked you to stop it, that was a warning shot. You will not like what happens next. I don't know. I just can't imagine continuing to do something that made my partner uncomfortable. This is the equivalent of risking it all, is it not? If your partner has said, this makes me really uncomfortable, I would really like you to stop. And then you say, nah, I'm good. I'm going to keep going. Don't be insecure. That's risking it all. You know it's a problem. And if you know it's a problem, right now he's got this mentality of that sounds like a you problem. No, sir, it's very much it's an us problem, right? This is not just a her problem. And if you know that it makes her insecure and you can continue to do it, come what may, you're essentially adding fuel to the fire. That's not a fire yet. You're adding fuel to an explosive device. Also, before I get into the update, I want to go back and check one thing here. When does he go? Like what time of day? Last 90 minutes. If it was like a first thing in the morning thing before anybody's awake, like you're not losing any time with your family. He's not trading anything. It's got to be sometime in the middle of the day because she asked him to devote that time to his family. So it's time that he otherwise would spend with his family. And socializing with her after the runs. Yeah, that's no good either. All right, here's the update. 9/26/24. I asked my friend to go to the track when they were supposed to run on the track only. My husband doesn't know this friend of mine that well. I made friends with her recently. She told me that after the run, they both sat down on the grass afterwards, and there was physical contact between the shoulders, as in they both were sitting close to each other. They were both smiling and looking happy and showing each other their phones. They did this for 10 to 15 minutes until they were rested. Then both just went back home. They don't go get smoothies every time, it looks like. I guess they rested because they didn't want to drive immediately after while their legs were tired. I'm not sure what to make of this, though. The close physical contact is extremely bothersome. My husband has only gone to the track twice this week. He doesn't intend on going the next 3 days, compared to the 3 times per week, which began 3 weeks ago. My friend told me that it gave off the energy that she was crushing on him. My husband came home. I greeted him and began to prepare dinner, and I see him on his phone. It gives a weird feeling that he might be communicating with her. I asked him while we were in bed together, how often does she go to the track? He says she goes there every day, and he just sends her a text to let her know if he's coming that day. I asked him how often does he intend on going per week, and he said 2 to 3, which are long runs. I asked him more, and I could see him being kind of suspicious regarding my questioning. I asked him to detail how much time he spends after the run. He said that he spends some time resting, which is around 15 to 30 minutes, and sometimes they go walk to the smoothie place, which is like a 10 to 15 minute walk, and socialize there 10 to 15 minutes, and then walk back 10 to 15 minutes, then go home. There's a lot of 10 to 15 minute things going on here. What matters is that they spend 45 to 75 minutes together after the run. I asked him if I could meet her, like invite her over for dinner. He said that when me and her get closer in the future, I think so. The wording of that made me uncomfortable. I then asked him how long does he think that it will be until they are close enough. He said he's not sure, and at this point, he just reassured me that I'm being nervous and anxious for no reason, and that he only likes me. He said this in a playful and laughing manner. Then he just said that I could drop our daughter off at my mother's place and come run with them. I said, I'll think about it. Did he offer that because he knew that she wouldn't take him up on it? That was it in that regard. I also went on his phone earlier again. At this time, I went onto the private account of his friend, and she posted an Instagram story of my husband and her drinking smoothies together. That's all. Not sure what to do now. I can't tell my husband not to go to the track anymore, even though I prefer that he doesn't. He hasn't really done anything alarming with her except them sitting down really close together post-run. Again, I'm not sure if this was done with the intention of being intimate. I think it's just done because they were sharing their running stats on their phone. Top comment here. I don't know a single wife, even the very cool ones, who wouldn't turn up to that track with their kids and a couple of smoothies to casually watch daddy run in this situation. Both runners need a record scratch of reality in their little bubble world. She needs the visual double take of realizing he's a father and a husband. He needs to see everyone in the same visual plane to remind himself that he has a choice to make. What they are doing so far could be something or nothing, but for sure they are playing with fire. Between her naivete and his sense of denial, it doesn't end well. Add in the shared hobby, adrenaline, that they are both presumably straight. Nope. Standing on a hay bale, playing with petrol and matches. Can men and women be friends? Yes, absolutely. Can these two? Nope. Thoughts? Here today, it can be all innocent, but it is giving very dangerous situations. He needs to adjust. Look, if the friend went and monitored this and it looked potentially innocent, but she looked like she was crushing on him. I mean, look, dudes are relatively blind to flirting. He may not know that she's crushing on him, but if he didn't know, why would he fight so hard to keep this thing? Was it a matter of principle, or was it a matter of this specific girl? That's the question, right? I don't know. Far too much togetherness, in my opinion. Life with London says, how old is he? He is 29. 29 and 19. He likes the attention, Mom Vibe says. And I'm sure she does too. I'm sure she likes the attention too. And it's an older guy, so it's like, you know, she's with college brozos all day, and she sees an older dude, and even if this is on the surface innocent, she is. They're both enjoying it in a flirty kind of way. That's the vibe that I get. Now we've talked about this before in a relationship. If you get a vibe, like, you should trust your gut, but you should trust but verify your gut, right? And in this case, the research that you didn't turn up anything. The prettier word before, no, that was before she went on her Instagram feed. I don't know where she got the idea that she was prettier. Maybe he had shown her a picture, maybe something there, but she already had an idea of what she looked like. So she had either done some spying or maybe some social stalking. It's the biggest red flag for me that he, even knowing your insecurities, decided to keep doing it anyway. And I don't know if it's a matter of principle or if it's a matter of this specific girl. That kind of, it does make a difference. Now, if your partner's uncomfortable with something and tries to talk to you about it, and you just shut them down and you basically say, that's a you problem, deal with it. You're just being insecure. You're seeing things, whatever. He didn't go into gaslighting mode. He was moving that direction, though. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it comes from. If you don't take the time to try to understand that and empathize with it, that's not going to end well. Sticking with NTA for you here, and your hobby for disrespecting your wishes, he's at minimum and ask on 2. And that's if he's oblivious to everything that's going on. If he is knowingly involved in some kind of a flirtatious bullshit here, then he'll move up to 1 really quickly. Candy Thunder's here, ladies and gents. Oh. You know this story because you read it and put it on the doc. What are your thoughts here?
One, I think that the wife should have been more direct with how she was feeling, because I feel like she kind of wasn't saying, I'm uncomfortable. Like, I'm completely uncomfortable. Like, I have done that. We've done that. Hey, I don't like the vibe that I got from this. So this is how I feel about it. If you care about somebody and they say there could be nothing going on, but this makes me feel uncomfortable, I feel like you should take that into consideration and say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. And as a married couple, if we don't say off limits, I'm not going to tell him that something is off limits, but I'm going to say something makes me uncomfortable, and how he reacts to that information that I'm giving him is going to tell me how much he respects me and how much he loves me. And he would walk away. He would not run with that person.
100%.
I already know that. So
there have been situations before where you said that certain people gave off a vibe, and I didn't see it because I don't see anything. I didn't see it, but her saying that was enough for me to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I trust her radar there,
Right.
trust that she's seeing something. And for OP, maybe if you did go visit and deliver smoothies, you would at least have the physical presence there to be able to gauge the vibe too. And then afterward have an opening to say, okay, I got a vibe.
Well, hold on.
I'm not liking it.
Sorry, this was one of the stories I found first. So hold on, I just want to make. She says, I started to feel that this wasn't appropriate, and wanted him to spend that time with me and our family instead. I told him this. Did you tell him that it wasn't appropriate, or did you tell him that you want him to spend time with family instead? Because those two things are very different, in my opinion. If something is bothering me to the point that I feel like it's not appropriate, my exact words are, this does not feel appropriate to me and it makes me uncomfortable. And what do you want to do with that information? How would you like to move forward?
Right.
And if I'm called insecure, then I have major red flags for that, because I have expressed to you how something is making me feel. And in turn, we need to have a discussion to make sure that insecurity doesn't become a thing. Insecurity should not be used as an insult, in my opinion.
It's not a defense.
No,
and when he said that,
that's gaslighting to me.
Judging by the way that he responded and said that she needed to relax,
Yep.
and then called her insecure, that tells me that she came up and said, this does make me uncomfortable. This feels inappropriate. It wasn't just,
There you go.
hey,
There
you
you go.
should spend more time with the kids. It's a, this feels inappropriate to me, and him fighting for it and essentially saying
Yep.
it's a you problem. And that's what saying you're just being insecure is. It's saying it's a you problem, and it's not. It's not, you know, your partner's feelings aren't just their problem. Not if you're in a true partnership. I guess that's the take.
There, someone said it's an attempted deflection. Yeah, he deflected and tried to turn it around on her to make her look like the problem.
Right.
So this guy's a bigger asshole than I think we gave him credit for.
So I put him at 2.
I think he's a 1.
Okay.
I think he's a 1 because you don't call your wife insecure when she brings a problem to you.
That's fair.
That's the worst thing you could do to your wife.
That's fair.
Honestly. I haven't been able to cuss all day, so it's gonna come out.
I've been at Silver Dollar City.
I've been at Silver Dollar City.
They don't have
Eat a sack
cussing
of
there.
trash.
They don't have cussing there.
I did encounter an asshole, little 12-year-old kid at Silver Dollar City as I was waiting in line to get on the swings, if anyone's ever been there. This kid who is with, like, I think his sisters, is sitting here on his phone, not looking up. And the one time he does look up, it's to spit between me and Ava and his sisters, just right on the ground, big old, like, nasty wad of spit. And I looked at him and his sisters looked at me and I was like, that's not appropriate. And he just looked at me and I was like, that's gross. And I said it because I'm like, that you spit 2 feet from my feet and 2 feet from your sister's feet when you could have turned around and spit in the grass.
Did he wind it up too? Did he hawk a big luger?
It was gross.
Was
it was
and it just
nasty.
came right out?
And I was like, I was just like dumbfounded. And I was like, my words were just like, they just came out. And he just looked at me and I was like, I looked at him and I was like, that's not what we do. And
it's not the done thing.
No,
mate.
and he looks at me and he looks down back at his phone and then he takes his foot and he rubs it in and like smears it around so it's
better.
gone. And I was like, okay, thank you.
That's better.
And his sister was like, spit over the edge.
That's better.